I'm reading a book by Herman Melville right now. I can't say the title because it will set off YouTube's bad word detection thingy. It's about a whale and the source of everything you know about boats. I don't think he ever mentions the color of the whale, though. Something struck me when I began reading this book, something very specific that Melville is doing in each and every scene. This is not something unique to Melville or this particular novel. In fact, it's something that many great novels do, and if you want to improve your novel, you should consider doing it too. What I found when reading Moldy Brick was that every scene was a story in and of itself. It moved very methodically through an introduction, establishing a conflict, rising to a climax, and then flowing into the denouement. All of this while simultaneously building out the main plot of the story, allowing each scene to accomplish the same arc across the entirety of the novel. This is what good stories do. They are sort of fractal in nature. It's plot all the way down. Novelists tend to talk about plot and structure at the novel level. It's the main thing that we can lord over short story writers, the length of our plots. But sacrificing scene level structure for novel level structure can be problematic. You need to have both in order to have a good novel. Plot is fundamentally about introducing a status quo, upsetting that status quo, establishing a conflict, and having the characters work towards resolving that conflict, facing obstacles and setbacks until they eventually resolve it. Structuring scenes this way will make them more interesting rather than just relying on how the scene fits into the broader scope of the plot. I can also see an argument for applying the same idea to the action or even the paragraph level. Every time your character makes a move, every time they have a small goal throughout a scene, you can approach it in a similar way. Even at the sentence level, it could be argued you should follow this same format. You introduce a character, that's the subject. You have a verb, which describes the action or the conflict of the sentence. And then you have the object, which is what the verb is directed at, and that's sort of the goal or the resolution. Building out a story this way ensures that all parts contribute. Every sentence, every paragraph, every scene, every chapter, all work to contribute to the overall plot of the novel. This ensures that at any given moment the story is moving forward. Even if the main plot is slowing down, there's still a sense of movement, there's still a sense of progress. That's what you want to have. That will lead to massive reader engagement. Obviously, every scene can't have massive plot movements. That's impossible to do, but there needs to be something. You want to allow the reader to nibble on little pieces of resolution before they get to the main feast of resolution at the end of your story. Every chapter needs to be a separate course in the massive meal of your novel. Each paragraph a bite, every scene a chicken cutlet. If all you do is evaluate and work on your plot at the novel level, then you're missing half of the equation. You risk creating these dead zones in your story, scenes that don't feel engaging. It'll feel like the story is dragging. If a scene can't rest on its own virtues, then it likely shouldn't have a place in your novel. Some people will tell you that you should take every scene in your novel and try to figure out what could make it the reader's favorite scene. What is something that somebody could really love about this scene? It could be a character moment, a couple of lines of quippy dialogue, a really interesting minor conflict that the character is dealing with. Anything that would engage the reader and make them really like a scene. And if you can't find a reason that somebody would love a scene, you have to ask, why is it in the novel in the first place? Looking at your character goals can also be helpful here. In every single scene, your characters should be trying to accomplish something. They might fail, they might encounter setbacks, but they should be trying. If you have long stretches in your novel where the character doesn't really have a goal, they're just kind of waiting around for things to happen, then that can be a sign that your scene level engagement is not good enough. Even if the goal is just to get a point across in conversation or to rest and have a meal after a long day's journey, it doesn't have to be something big, but the character should be trying to accomplish something. Of course, not every scene in your novel can be exciting, unless it's a thriller, in which case the whole point is for every scene to be exciting. But even if a scene is more subdued, it needs to have some movement to it. It can just be the character catching their breath, but there needs to be some kind of movement, something that moves the story forward. If you can figure out a way to make a conversation or even just the character sitting there and ruminating about something into a sort of mini story where you introduce a status quo, you establish a conflict, you have the character try to resolve that conflict, and you move towards a resolution, it's going to make the novel way more engaging and way more interesting. Much better than just having a filler scene where everyone is waiting around for the next part of the plot to happen. Just like this video was filler before the next part of your life happening. So there you have it. If you enjoyed this video, please check out all my other writing advice related videos and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.